Welcome to Entrepreneurship at Rowan, an official production of the award-winning Rowan Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship. We cover the entrepreneurial pulse of Rowan students, faculty, and alumni. Prepare to be Rowan proud.
Hello, Rowan University. My name is Madison Miller, and I'm your host for Season 5 of the Entrepreneurship at Rowan podcast, where we'll be focusing on creative entrepreneurship. Today, I'm here with Scian and Eddie Silver from 15mMMedia, a company that assists businesses with their marketing through digital media and storytelling. I'm so excited to chat with you guys today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, no problem. I'm excited to be here.
Thanks for having us.
To start off, I just want to learn a little bit more about you guys, and I'm curious as to, your backgrounds and how you sort of started this company.
Yeah, so my background's going to sound really familiar to you. Mm-hmm. I worked at the WIT at Rowan. I was a sports editor. How I got there was maybe a little different. I was one of the first people in the sports communication major the first semester they started it. I walked right into John Giannidi's office, who was running the program at the time before he became the athletic director. I was like, what do I do? I'm like, I came from a business degree. I wasn't doing anything while I was there. I was like, what do I do? He introduced me to Jaden Campana, who I'm going to send this to him. Shout out to Jaden. He introduced me to him right away. He was like, you're going to work at the WIT. You're going to, learn how to sports write. I'm like, I've never written in my life. He's like, you're going to figure it out. And then the same day he connected me with a guy that he knew that owns a production company. They were doing documentaries, sports documentaries specifically. So I spent like a year traveling up and down the East Coast doing sports documentaries. And between the WIT and the sports documentaries, I found out I really liked telling stories. Sports was kind of secondary to it. I just enjoyed them. I found out I liked telling stories. And when I took over the sports editor role from Jaden, like 90 freshmen came in to the sports cam program. And Neil Hartman, who took over for John at that point, told me, like, pretty much don't say no to any of these people. Not that I would want to, but like, let's get them opportunities. Let's say, let's let these people get experience. So I had to find out what to do with a lot of people. So we had to get really creative because we have maybe 6 active teams at a time here. So I had to get really creative with who does what. Got really good at delegating. And then out of college, I was doing business to business sales for Verizon for a little while. So I was in Old City, Philly, knocking on businesses. Found out I hated selling internet, but I loved talking to small business owners. Realized they were all experts in what they did, but maybe didn't know how to tell people about it. So that's where the idea for the business came from. So that was the original idea of we're going to help local businesses tell their stories and drive people into the business. And then 3.5 years later, twisted and turned, changed our story up a little bit, but that's still the core of what we do.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I love how you've done so many different things. I feel like it really adds to, just what you guys do. And so, like my second question for you would just be, like, what is the importance of storytelling for these businesses? Like, we know why it's important for journalists, for different people, but I feel like business, often we focus a lot on marketing and branding without that storytelling element. So would you be able to talk a little bit about why storytelling is such an important part of, small businesses?
Yes, I'll use our mini documentaries that we do as an example. So the cornerstone of the business is video production and strategy. The biggest part of that is mini documentaries for businesses. So it'll be a 3 to 5 minute little documentary, which, from my background I just told you about, makes sense where that idea came from. And we'll turn that mini documentary into an ad strategy that will help drive people to the business. So the reason that works is because the classic, people don't remember what you said, they remember how you made them feel. And storytelling, I feel like, is the most emotional form of communication, especially a strong story. So like, you can do a scripted commercial, it's fun, people might remember it, but they don't leave the commercial with a feeling. They leave it, maybe chuckling or something like that. But every commercial that you remember, probably most of the commercials you remember, left you with an emotion, not with just the thought. I mean, look at Coca-Cola. They scaled their business on nostalgia. That's a feeling. So it's just trying to connect with their customers with a feeling rather than just with a message.
Yeah, absolutely. So you do this through videos, and then you also talked a little bit about podcasting. So I guess, how do you assess what each business needs when you take on a new client?
So what every business needs is money. So that's where we start. So it's, what are we going to do with video that's going to drive people into your business? Podcasting, we started in 2020, podcast boom. Everyone was at home. Everyone wanted to do a podcast. So we were just doing them for people. Mostly like, medium-ish size businesses, probably service based. Like it was a vanity project for a board CEO. A lot of the times, they wasn't making them a ton of money, but they liked it because it added value internally. So it engaged employees, it engaged some of their existing customers. So there was intrinsic value to it rather than monetary value. Obviously, some people made money off of it, but it was more of an intrinsic value than a monetary value. So a lot of times, if someone asks me about doing a podcast, especially paying us to do it, we're going to vet them pretty hard of like, what's the purpose here? Like, what do you want listeners to do? How are we going to get them to do it? So we'll sit down and like work on the strategy of, let's make sure this makes sense for you. And you're not just paying us to produce a podcast for no reason. And then video strategy just overall is a big part of the business. So mini documentaries, like I was saying before, that's a big part of what we do. And then we do like social media retainer, but just the content creation side of it. So we'll do, people will hire us to shoot their social media content and we'll deliver it for them ready to go. The biggest decision comes between the mini documentaries and the social media content. So is your customer on social media? What platform are they on? Are they going to get activated by seeing the content that we're posting? And if it's no, it's where are they? We'll do a commercial mini documentary, do an ad strategy, maybe we'll do Facebook ads, and then we do streaming ads as well. So it'll be like Peacock, Paramount, Hulu. Most people are watching TV, so we'll hit them somewhere, whether it's social media ads or streaming ads. So it's mostly who's your customer, where are they, what do they want to hear, how can we tell it to them?
Yeah, absolutely. How do you figure out where to place those ads? So I know you said streaming and social media. Do you guys ever do them on like network TV? How do you figure out what the best medium is for that customer?
Yes, I'm not a fan of like network TV ads. Obviously, they've been doing them forever, so there's merit to it. But you can't dictate who's watching those ads, and it plays whether someone's TV is on or off. So with the streaming ads, they work a lot like Facebook ads, where it'll place it first, wait for the person to be obviously watching TV, and then play the ad. So you can build your audience, your demographic, your zip code, interests, and then put it on their Hulu account. So whether they're on their phone, they're on their TV, they're on their laptop, you're getting in front of them. You're putting yourself in front of them. So that's how we decide. The OTT service that we use to place the streaming ads, they handle a lot of the app placement. But their thing is, if someone's not on Crackle, they won't play it on Crackle. But if they are watching, Tubi or whatever app you think no one watches, if they're there watching it, they'll show them the ad. So they make sure it's being seen by the right people. But every question always comes down to who is your customer, where are they? We always start there. We always ask, a lot of our clients are existing businesses that have been around for a while. How do people like to hear about you? Like what's worked in the past? So right now we work with a light design company. What's worked for them is word of mouth. They're the most personable women I've ever met. They do beautiful interior light design, exterior as well, but they're very down to earth, relatable people. So we're trying to mimic that on their social media and their digital marketing of how can we take what works for selling you and make it video.
Yeah, that's awesome. And in like today's day and age too, I feel like that's so important because everything we do is on our phones, or we're watching something. Everything's online. So
yeah, I kind of talk about social media and ads kind of being a virtual version of a billboard. It's like billboards got popular because where are people? Driving places. Billboards are on the highway. Let's put stuff in front of them. Now we have this thing that people are like chemically addicted to in their pocket all the time. So let's put our ads on there. I'm not a big fan of social media, personally using it. It's obviously, there's a lot of bad stuff about it, but if it's going to exist, I can't do anything about that. We might as well help some businesses out in the meantime. So that's kind of how we approach the concept of social media, even though we don't love that it exists.
I feel like that's all a part of being successful too. You kind of got to roll with where the rest of the world is going and adapt to it, even if it's not something that, you're super crazy about. I totally am the same way. I hate being on my phone. I hate looking at my social media, but, I always feel like I have to do it just because, it's the way the world's going. Yeah.
So we did social media management for a long time. We've been around 3.5 years. We did it hardcore for at least 3 of those years. And then one day my fiance asked me, she's like, "Oh, do you know this TikTok trend?" And I was like, "No." And she was like, "It's the most popular one right now." I'm like, "I'm not on TikTok. I don't look." And I was like, maybe we shouldn't be managing social media, people's social media accounts if we're not up on these trends. But we liked the video part of it, so that we stuck with it. I know Eddie can attest to this too. Like, social media management is a whole different thing than video production. Like, we like to tell a story, and it's hard to tell the whole story if you're, it's a whole different. It's just a different world.
Yeah, I mean, the main reason we got into social media was we tried selling the videos, and people, 3.5 years ago were, "Do you guys do social?" Like, yeah, we could do. You have money? Yeah, we could do social. Brand new company needs a couple clients. Yeah, we'll do your social media, and it just never got away from that until recently, and it's nice not to have to worry about it. As much.
We said not doing social media management is going to add years back to our lives. But I know, since this is like an entrepreneurship-based podcast, I could bring this topic up, I guess. We were very much in the all things, the all people stage when we agreed to do social media, and then we got too much of it, so we had to keep doing it. And then one day he was like, you own the company. You can just decide not to do it anymore. And I was like, oh, yeah, you're right. I forgot about that. Like, you forget that you can make your own decisions sometimes when you own a business, especially when you have employees. Like, you also kind of just become an employee of your own business. And sometimes it takes something like that to step out of it and be like, oh, yeah, I move all the pieces. I can decide how we want to approach this.
I think it's kind of like, people get into bad habits. Us getting into social media was us getting into a bad habit. And Vince is the one who can break the bad habit and didn't realize, I can just stop and do something I want. Like, video production is why he started the company. Social media, like I said, we were getting clients. We're like, yeah, we'll keep doing your social media. 3 years later, it's like, we don't like doing social media.
Unless any of our clients are listening, we love you, everyone. We love yours, though.
Yeah.
Our clients.
No, we still do social media. Like, we didn't kick out our clients. We still do social media same way. It's just as good. It's probably better after today because we just had a great day at Rowan.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're not really looking for new social media clients anymore.
Yeah, I think it's just a testament of like the niches are in the riches. I can do a million of these stupid entrepreneurship quotes, but like the niches or the riches are in the niches. It's like once you decide, really drill down on what you do and just that one thing, everything else gets really, really easy.
So you started as, a more traditional journalist, writing for the paper and editing. And now you're doing some more like public relations stuff, helping small businesses. What are some differences and also some similarities that you've been able to identify and sort of use to like not only, help you like build your brand, but also enhance it as well?
I would say the differences are there's a lot less editorializing in advertising and marketing than there is in the WIT, at least the way I do it. So with the WIT, I do an interview. Like if I was interviewing an athlete, or like I would interview the coach and then a player, talk about a game, I would take the quotes, transcribe them, build the article around the quotes, and then write some paragraphs in between. When you're doing a documentary or a production, you don't have words to write in between, especially we produce with no narration. We never do narrating. It's not, I don't want to call it lazy video editing, but you should get everything out of your interview that you need, so you don't need a narrator. I was also told in college that I could never do narration, so I learned how to edit around it, edit to my strengths. So there's a lot less editorializing like that. I put a lot less of myself into our work than I would when I was writing. I got a lot of my voice out in articles that I was writing, which, when I wasn't the editor, when I was sending it to Jaden to edit for me, not a lot of my voice made it into the paper. So I think it was a sign early on, like, oh, maybe I'm not journalistic in my writing style. I was writing articles like I would write a blog. The similarities, though, are that you're really just telling a story. I know we talked about it earlier, but you go in. We don't do any prep for our mini documentaries. I would do the same thing, not the exact same thing with journalism. We have to do a little bit of prep before an interview, but I would go in with my research and a few questions that I wanted to ask, but I let the story come out of the business as we're interviewing them. It makes clients nervous a lot. They're like, what do I need to get ready? I'm like, nothing. Do zero preparation. Like, I will find the story when we get there. So that stays the same. Because you ask someone like, oh, what's the story of your business? They're not going to give you a genuine answer. So you got to sit there and poke and prod and find the real story. And that's still my favorite part, I think, of what we do, is like sitting down with somebody and peeling the layers back until you find like the actual meat of what the story is. And then that's what their audience tends to love to hear.
Yeah, absolutely. And I relate to that so much as a journalist. Like, I feel like you really get the meat of the interview when you're, just talking to people and you're genuinely just listening and asking them questions. And the story always comes out itself. Like,
it takes a little bit of time to break people down and get them comfortable, because we have 2 or 3 cameras pointed at them, a whole bunch of lights, and I'm sitting behind the camera and the lights. So it takes a little bit to get them calm. So like we'll sit them down, let them sit there for a little bit before we record. We pretend like we're focusing and fixing settings, but we're really just letting them get comfortable in the seat. And then the way I start every single interview is, if Liv listens to this, she'll laugh because she edits all this, but it's always first question's the easiest one. What's your name? And then they usually breaks them down a little bit. They give me their name and they start to settle in. You can always see in an interview too, if you watch someone's shoulders, like throughout an entire interview, throughout it, they kind of drop their shoulders a little bit. They get a little more relaxed. They'll lean back a little bit. That's when I start to ask like the good questions, try to get into the actual emotions of everything. I switched up. We have 3 parts to our mini documentaries. There's your why, there's your emotion, and then there's you talk about your community. So in the emotion and experience part, I move that to the end of the interview, even though we usually put that towards the beginning and the middle, because that's when I want someone to be at their most relaxed. So you gotta wear them down a little bit to get them calm like that.
I feel like it's so cool what you guys do, because you're taking these skills that, writers and journalists are using, and you're using them in business and public relations, which I feel like sometimes it is so similar, but I feel like people don't always see the two as similar as they really are. But yeah, I just think that's so cool that you guys are able to use those creative skills and then also use it to help, make people money, and especially local businesses. That's how they're reaching more customers, and that's how they're feeding their families and supporting their career. And I just think it's so cool.
Yeah, we love a family business. We love a local business. Shop local is kind of our whole brand, like our whole mission. Like we love the mom and pops on Main Street. They can't always afford to like hire us to work with them. So we find other ways to help them. We do we're doing like a shop local campaign on our socials. We started out in Marlton. We started an account called Shop Marlton. We partnered with the township and just did like 60 business spotlights around town of like places that couldn't necessarily hire someone like us to do their full marketing or social media or video production. But, we're still getting their name out there that way. We're starting up with Collingswood right now. I actually just got an email as we sat down that we have our first content day scheduled in Collingswood. So it might be out by the point that whenever this gets released. So search Shop Collingswood on Instagram. If it's there, you'll know that we did it. But if not, it's coming soon. So we're trying to do more stuff like that to promote local business any way we can.
What would you guys say is like the most impactful or the story that you guys have done for your clients or for a customer that sort of left you with like the most impact or emotion after you're done the project?
I think my mind goes right to Kelly first.
Yeah. Just Your Sleep Mattress Boutique in Marlton. Kelly is just the sweetest person you've ever met. She builds and designs mattresses. And like she'll custom fit you to a mattress. She's the best. I'll let you kind of.
Yeah, no, I mean, she just. This was my second time meeting her when we did this shoot. I met her a year and a half before at a Marlton business meeting thing. I don't know. He goes to the networking events. I don't remember their names. But yeah, she's just the nicest person. She, as soon as you walk in, she was like, "Hey, I have so and so coming. Make sure you talk to them. They probably need your help." Like. She's always doing referrals. She's always hosting events for people. She like rents out she'll like close up shop for a day to like rent out, what's it called? Like a B&I day.
Yeah, she'll do like networking events or like she does like
she'll just like
toy
close.
drives.
Like a random Tuesday. Just like, hey, Kelly, we're looking for a space. Yeah, come on by.
Yes.
She won't even be there. She'll like come on by. They set up tables, there's food.
Yeah, that's a good one.
She's just like one of the nicest people I've met.
Yeah, being able to help people like that.
Right.
I love because she like you could see her passion with the business and then getting to be the medium to get that message out for her is awesome.
Yeah. When we were on our way over there, Vince told me, "Hey, Kelly has a commercial idea." I'm like, well, "Yeah, we're going to shoot the mini doc. Of course she has a commercial idea. She has like an actual commercial idea she wants to shoot." I'm like, "Okay, that's not what we do." Like I met her once a year ago. I don't know Kelly that
this
well.
This was the first scripted thing I ever shot.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And I mean, it was very funny. It was like very loose. There was no like, she had like her friends come who aren't actors. They were fun. They were good. Like we did like 2 takes and that was it for like most of the shots. But I went to that like, damn, Vince, what do we do? Like, that's not what we do. What are we doing? And then we shoot it. I'm like, okay, that was good. And it's just like, Kelly had this idea for 5 years or whatever it was. Yeah. Finally had the opportunity to shoot it. We shoot it and it was great. It just like goes to show her personality, and
it was a fun hang, that whole shoot. That's that's what I love about doing those things, is when it's just like a fun hang.
Right. We also talked with her for like an hour and a half once we were done.
Mm-hmm.
It was like 6:30. Neither of us
Our
had
backs,
ate.
yeah. We shoot days kill your back.
Mm-hmm.
So we were like laying on one of her mattresses, just kind of like trying to decompress our back a little bit. We're like, yeah, Kelly, keep talking to us, please. Like, we'll stay forever.
She's just talking about networking events that like we have no idea. Like we can go.
She's like, what are you doing on the 25th? I'm like, I'll be there. Whatever you need. The one that stands out for me, we did our first real, not even a mini documentary. We did a 30-minute documentary for a company called 7 Oil. It started off as Mike, the founder, reached out to me. We were a friend of a friend. He's like, I want to do a video celebrating 40 years of my dad owning the business. He's like, I'm going to have some people send in some cell phone video. Can you stitch it together for me? I'm like, yeah, no problem. And he's like, so I had this other idea. He's like, can you come out and actually record everyone at the office congratulating my dad? And I was like, yeah, sure, no problem. Everyone at the office turns out is like 60 people. So we did 60 interviews and basically we turned it into the full story of the entire 40 years. We ended up doing a 30-minute documentary. That's where one of the first seeds that planted of like, oh, I think this could be part of what we do as a business, like doing business documentaries.
So what would you guys say is one of the hardest parts that you found about running a business versus, you're doing all this creative stuff, you're doing a lot of production work, but when it comes to actually running the business, like what would you say is like the most difficult part, and how have you been able to sort of overcome that?
There's a lot of difficult parts. I would say the most difficult one though is like those back against the wall days where it's like, payroll's coming up, a few people are late on invoices, like got to figure out what to do. It's real easy to panic in those situations and make a hasty decision that's just going to hurt later you. Like it's easy to put a Band-Aid on a situation in that situation and it ends up hurting you in the long run. So being able to kind of step out of a horrible situation and look at it as an unbiased third party of like, how do I address the situation in a calm manner? Kind of take your emotions out of it a bit. You got to keep some of it in there because it's, your business is your baby. But it's, being able to stay calm when there's it's easy to panic. Realize someone gave me great advice. He told me, no matter what happens with your business today, you are not going to get eaten by a tiger. Mm-hmm. And which is very silly, but also like it's a really good point. No matter what decision you make today, it is not the end of the world. So I use that to kind of recenter myself a lot. If you just keep doing the right thing, you're gonna get through it. Not to go off on a whole side tangent here, but the other thing is to get out of that. Taking care of your people is the most important thing. So if you have staff that works for you or anyone that works with you, taking care of them is the most important thing that will get you through hard times like that. Because if you take care of them whenever you can, if your back's against the wall, you can call an employee and be like, I submitted payroll late by accident. It's not going to come through until Tuesday. And they're going to be like, yeah, it's fine. We'll be okay. So like, it's just making sure you're taking care of people whenever you can.
I feel like that's so important too. Like having people that, like you enjoy going to work, you enjoy spending time with the people that you're around. It makes all the difference because, just doing different jobs. I've worked in, environments where it's not like that and it changes the whole thing. You could love what you're doing. And if you're not around people who are supporting you and uplifting you and, not telling you what you want to hear, but telling you what you need to hear, it makes all the difference.
I love doing the entrepreneur company stuff that you're supposed to do. So, we have core values that we made up years ago. I think we're probably going to redo them at some point, but it's the three of us and we're all very similar, like all share the same type of value. So it always comes off as kind of corny and redundant where it's just like me telling Eddie to be creative and resourceful. He's like, yeah, I know. But now that we're hiring new people, it all comes in handy because we get to show them like, here are the 5 things that we care about. Are you all 5 of these things? And it's a quick yes or no. It helps them assimilate, I think, into the culture a little bit better. But it is hard to, when all 3 of us the culture is just so natural to us. It's gonna be really hard, I think, to put it on paper the way we want to. But we're also just like, if someone starts, if we just have them hang out with us for a little while, I think they'll get the idea pretty quick.
Yeah. What are those core values?
So right now, they spell out Craig. So Craig is our company mascot. He's a chameleon. So it's creativity, resourcefulness, accountability, integrity, and growth.
My final question for you guys is, what is one piece of advice, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, when you guys were college students, for any college students who are listening to this, what is some advice that you would give your past self, not only just about starting a company, but also just about being creative and turning your passions into something that you can make money from without, burning yourself out?
I think my advice, regardless of really like the specific question is always just be a good person. Like you just do good things, and that's the kind of the end of it. Like if someone does something good to you, cool. If they don't, you just keep it moving. Just be nice. You see a homeless guy and you have an extra $1, give the homeless guy $1. Like you just be a good person as often as possible.
I can attest to Eddie being that person that we've like missed Ubers because he's got to go give the homeless guy something or help him with directions. So you do live what you say you're gonna do.
We were looking for a food shelter.
Yeah,
and the Uber showed up.
If anyone's Project Home, look that up. We didn't meet them until like 2 weeks after that, unfortunately. But Project Home, if you ever run in that situation, advice I would give to college me or any college student is just say yes. No matter what it is, you're at a time in your life, just say yes to absolutely everything. If you find out you don't like it right away, fine, but just say yes. Get proof that it's not your thing. And then another thing I like to tell, like I met a young guy today at the career fair. He was telling me he had an idea for a business, and he was like, "Oh, we haven't really launched it yet." I'm like, "Why?" He's like, "Well, we just don't really, we can't really." I'm like, "No, why?" Like, there's way. And he was like, it was like a T-shirt thing he wanted to start. I was like, "Oh, here's a website that I heard of. Zero money up front. They build a store for you, and they'll just print one and send it." I'm like, "There you go. Start it tomorrow." Like, just if you have an idea, just do the idea. It's the same kind of concept. We used to give people advice with social media. The only way to do it wrong is to not do it. So, like, if you have this idea, you want to go after it, just do it.
Absolutely. And even if it's not perfect, I know that's something that like intimidates a lot of people.
I mean, if you have time to run your own business, other people have time to run their own business. You got school, you got the WIT, and you're also doing your own thing. So it's like, if you have time, everyone has time.
Thank you so much for joining us today, guys. I really enjoyed our chat, and I feel like I really connected with you guys, not only as like a journalist, but a storyteller. And I just feel like you guys are so inspirational, and I love your story,
Sweet.
Not just about what you guys are doing with work, but also just your story as friends and colleagues. It's really inspiring.
Thank you for listening. Rowan is proud to be an official knowledge hub of the International Council for Small Business. Our AACSB award-winning entrepreneurship programs challenge students to solve real problems in bold and impactful ways. If you're interested in supporting entrepreneurship at Rowan or want to get more involved by hiring an intern, speaking to a class, or being featured as a case study, contact us at rcie@rowan.edu.